All right. Excuse me. All right. So, Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm saving the President's Day comments. Hopefully, part one. We'll see. It's got 30 minutes remaining, and then probably another 15 to process. Yeah, one particular member got my goat. Shaw shooting. And he does not get it. He's pushing for Mormon propaganda to be enforced on everyone else in the world. You can't do that. Naughty, 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 naughty. And if you watch this video that I'm uploading, I talk about it, but we're going to go all out on this one, specifically targeting this subject. Okay, yes, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has Jesus Christ in the title. Nobody's disputing that. Does this mean that Mormons are followers of Jesus Christ? No. That premise does not lead to the conclusion. So, no. The answer is no. That's a fact. That's an unsound argument to make that claim. If you don't understand it, get on Google, look up fallacies. Google fallacies. And it'll go over all the different types of fallacies that are in existence. Different sites have different structures on how to arrange the topics, but study up on it. So first, Mormons, you need to understand your church history. Joseph Smith first named the Church of Christ. No Jesus, just the Church of Christ. Then he changed it to the Church of Jesus Christ. Then Mormons said, hey, we want the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This was all during Joseph Smith's time. So when Joseph Smith was murdered, and I did that video and not enough people are going to it. When Joseph Smith was murdered, there were break-offs. I was born and raised in the church. I was taught and conditioned to believe that Brigham Young was, called by God to lead the Mormons and succeed as president of the church. I believed it. So, yeah, I was lied to. There were other branch-offs. Emma Smith took her family and formed the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why is that not the true church, Mormons? You can't answer with, oh, because Jesus leads our church. Again, the premises do not lead to the conclusion. Now you can say, oh, well, the fruits of this church, we're going to get to that in just a second. Because Brigham Young is the one whose fruits we have to examine. And the reorganized church, they're now called the Community of Christ because they wanted to become a Christian church. And in order to become a Christian church, they had to give up the Book of Mormon. They had to give up Joseph Smith in a restoration church manner. And thus they changed the name. And so, what about the FLDS, the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Everybody in the world mixes the two churches up, don't they? Why aren't they the true church? Because they claim that John Taylor gave an oral revelation that polygamy should continue despite the government's threats. And so the fundamentalists believe that they are the true church. And so when Warren Jeffs got busted, and there are numerous branch-offs of polygamous sex. You got the Allens, and I can't remember the others, but those are the popular ones. But you have Big Love that emerges on HBO because of the branch-offs from the Mormon church, the Brighamite church. And so why are they wrong? Oh, but because the keys are with Brigham Young. Well, how? Why do you know that? Because I know from the Spirit telling me. The premises do not lead to the conclusion. Oh, but it's the mysteries of God. You just don't understand. Yes, I do understand. I was born and raised in the church. You can't use your opinions. You can't use your feelings. You can't use your beliefs to change the facts and the evidence. You can't do it. And so, let's go to Brigham Young then. Go right to the horse's mouth. Brigham Young. He was the missionary president of the 12. Not the same as the Council of 12, the Standing Council of 12, which was administrative. Joseph Smith had set it up different. It was Brigham Young who changed it because, well, he wanted to lead. And in order for him to justify his leadership, he had to make changes in the administration as well and turn the missionary 12 into the standing 12. And the standing 12 just dissolved and were worthless over time. And so, yes, there's a leadership crisis that occurs during Joseph Smith's time in 1838, and then there's the succession crisis when Joseph Smith was murdered. But what are Brigham Young's fruits? He got up at the pulpit and declared in the empire of Deseret, where he was king. Mormons, that's removed from our history, isn't it? You know, we have the song, "In our lovely Deseret, where the saints of God," but Mormons don't get it. They don't see it as the formation of a new kingdom. We just assume, oh yeah, we've always been a part of the United States. No. No. Brigham Young formed his own kingdom as king of the kingdom. Then the United States government came in, which you know about this, because they stopped the temple from being built. We had to cover up the stones at the foundation as the armies marched through Salt Lake. Did you know why? Because Brigham Young threatened the government. He sent a terrorist threat to the government of the United States. And so they sent the army. That's why. He couldn't just leave it alone. He had gotten away. He escaped. But no, he decides to send a letter to rub it in and threaten them. And so, yes, the temple was delayed because of Brigham Young's letter. And so you know that part. So the United States as they continued to push the American Indians westward into extinction, and blacks and even Chinese were involved in the slavery of the westward expansion. The railroad, for example. Can't remember the phrasing. For every mile of track, you have 3 dead Chinese. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, people were used as slaves in the westward expansion, and so Brigham Young was king. What does the Book of Mormon say about establishing a king in the United States? Oh, but it wasn't the United States then. It was the Kingdom of Deseret. Dum 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 dum. So, yeah, the United States eventually came in and turned Utah into a territory, which included Wyoming and Colorado, I guess, but I'd have to go back to a map, which apparently New Zealand doesn't exist on the maps anymore, as I found out from John Oliver from last night? Yeah. Yeah, he was immediately dethroned. If he just didn't write to the United States, just remained silent here in the United States, or in Deseret, where he was king, there would be a whole new history. Yeah, the United States came in, turned it into a territory, and then turned it into a state, and thus the polygamy overturn and the United Order overturn in order to become a state in the Union. And it was forced. Mormons had no choice or vote in the matter. And so Brigham Young got up at the pulpit in his new kingdom and declared, "We are now going to start polygamy." Most people didn't care about that, except for one of Brigham Young's wives, the one who wanted the divorce and got it. So what did Brigham Young do after the divorce of his wife? Well, not too long before he died, he wrote out temple text that was to be uniform throughout all the temples. And I think by then there was St. George and maybe Manti. I can't remember. But Salt Lake was not yet built, but St. George at least was. And so he at least had the idea in mind that we're going to have more temples than St. George, so here's the temple text. In that temple text, those of you who had gone through the temple and the endowment before 1991 know of this particular sign, or not the ring, it's the right hand. Of course, they still do right arm to the square, the thumb outstretched. What's this thumb represent? I wonder. Maybe if we go back before 1991, we'll have an idea of what it is. Sure enough, there was an extra covenant, a consequences, a punishment for those who violate the temple covenants. And you had this, your hand like this, thumb outstretched, and then it was brought level, and then brought over here. So see, like here, the left side. What happens if you cut a person's throat on the left side to the right side? That's right, the jugular. And you went across like so. You were ordered to kill yourself, commit suicide, if you violated the temple covenants. And remember, Brigham Young had been divorced. One of his wives divorced him. She left. She broke the temple ceiling. So what did Brigham Young put in the temple text as a covenant? What was the first one? What was just changed? This should shock and horrify all of you Mormons. This should shock and horrify anybody. The first covenant in the temple for women, it is to obey your husband. Obey. Not follow the hearken unto the counsel of your husband as he hearkens unto the counsel of God, which now that's changed. No, now it was obey. And Brigham Young, out of his hatred for the wife who left, who humiliated him with divorce, got revenge and put it into the temple text that any woman in this church must commit suicide if they violate their temple covenant to obey their husband. That's the fruit of Brigham Young. What else is the fruit of Brigham Young? He altered who Heavenly Father was. He said Adam is our Heavenly Father. There was no confusion on that. I often see Mormons try to explain it away, justify it. No, Brigham Young even got up in conference to say, people have said that I didn't really mean this. No, I meant it. And I think it's Orson Hyde. Orson Hyde, who opposed him in conference. So in conference, you have Brigham Young getting up and saying, Adam is now our Heavenly Father, and you have Orson Hyde getting up and saying, that is a blasphemous doctrine of President Brigham Young's. I denounce it. I want to go to conference now. And so yeah, Brigham Young, before he dies, also alters the ordering of the Quorum of 12, which he changed from the missionary 12 to the standing 12 to be the successors to the presidency. And so John Taylor then became the president of the church upon Brigham Young's death, not Orson Hyde. These are facts, people. These are still in the Journal of Discourses. And so there's another fruit of Brigham Young. He changed who God was. He started polygamy, he changed who God was, and he ordered women to submit to your husbands or kill yourselves. Then, and plus, kill yourself if you violate the other covenants as well. And then, he banned blacks from the priesthood. The church admits to this one in their gospel topic essay, Race and the Priesthood. Brigham Young was a racist. More fruit of Brigham Young. Remember, you shall know them by their fruits. So Brigham Young is a racist, a sexist, and a murderer, and he changed who God was. A rebel against the God of Joseph Smith. And so, are you sure, Mormons, that you want to say that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as succeeded through Brigham Young, is led by Jesus Christ? That you can claim that you are followers of Jesus Christ? Because that's what Shaw Shooting was trying to say, that he follows Jesus Christ, not Mormon. Obviously, you don't follow Mormon, but you also don't follow Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is not getting up at the pulpit in conference. He is not speaking. He is not the head of the church. No, the leaders of the church are the head of the church. When you do math and you have to show your answer, which means you have to show each step that you take to get to the answer, you can't leave something out. Same thing is happening to your explanation that you are being led by Jesus Christ. Because the truth is that the prophets claim they are led by Jesus Christ. That Jesus Christ leads this church. And you assume they're telling you the truth. So go back to Brigham Young. Look at his fruits. Was he being led by Jesus Christ to murder, to order women to submit to their husbands or kill themselves? Was it Jesus Christ who ordered Brigham Young to be racist? Was it Jesus Christ who ordered Brigham Young to have polygamy? Are you sure you want to go down that path, Mormons? Are you sure you want to get up at the church pulpits on the first Sunday of the month and say, I know the church is true? Go back to the first vision account. Jesus quotes from Isaiah. They draw near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They teach for doctrines the principles of man. I can't quote it, sorry. Do you understand, Mormons? You cannot say you are the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the sense of Jesus Christ leads the church. Because using Jesus' own principle of by their fruits ye shall know them. And it's referring to prophets specifically in Jesus' example. How will you know a false prophet from a true prophet of God? By their fruits. And then it goes on. A corrupt tree cannot produce good fruit. So if Brigham Young is corrupt, guess what that means? That means John Taylor is also corrupt. Wilford Woodruff is also corrupt. And so on and so forth. I don't have names memorized. But Nelson is also corrupt. I know him, he's a good man. I know him too. I saw him at Smith's back in 2014. He was lost. He'd never been there apparently. Or they just remodeled the place. I don't know. I was new. I was lost. So I couldn't help him. But eventually an employee found him and said, can I help you with anything? And she helped guide him to where he was going up in the second level. And then I found him lost on the lower level. she apparently didn't stick with him through the whole shopping list that he had. So, yes, I haven't done my video of my one-on-one with President Russell M. Nelson like I did with Spencer W. Kimball. And I haven't done one about Monson either. I've got one for him too, but it's all just dreams. And I think I included that in another video. It doesn't matter if you think they're good. Your opinions don't matter. The issue is President Russell M. Nelson the legitimate successor from Joseph Smith? That's the question. So we have to go to Brigham Young, the one claiming to be the successor. And by his fruits we shall know if he is the legitimate successor. And the answer is no, he's not. Which means everyone else, all the way till today with Russell M. Nelson, are not legitimate successors. So this church is not being led by Jesus. It is therefore misstated as being the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is not his church. This is not how Jesus would have it run. Because by Brigham Young's fruits, we know it's not his church. That's how you do an argument, Mormons. That's how you explain each step in the formula. And so is the Book of Mormon false? Doesn't matter, that's a different issue. Is Joseph Smith a true prophet? Doesn't matter, different issue. Brigham Young for the current Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Separate churches. You have to examine them separately. Joseph Smith's church was short-lived, 14 years. And he was murdered. So what does that mean now? It means you have to search for another church. God's true church. Oh my goodness, now you have to apply the First Vision account. Joseph Smith, whole bunch of churches, didn't know which one to join. So he read from the scriptures, he went to the various meetings. He even went to the Methodists after the First Vision where Jesus said, don't join any of them. But his precepts in the First Vision are correct, even though his historical accuracy is wanting. And but the precept is correct. Because how is anybody to know? Most people just say, oh, I was born Catholic, I'll die Catholic. I was born Mormon, I'll die Mormon. And you fear the Catholic or Mormon God if you dare to leave. You're afraid God will strike you down or deny you entrance into heaven or the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. And you're totally clueless that in Nelson's first conference in April last year, he took away your exaltation. High priests are now joined with the elders, and no elder at this point can ever be elevated to a high priest unless and until you become a leader. That's bishop, high council, stake president. Everybody else remains an elder for life. You are denied your exaltation in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. By their fruits ye shall know them. Okay, so it's now starting to process. and I'm at 30 minutes. So, do you understand, Mormons? You have some guy getting on my comments when I tell people I'm going to ban you if you are abusive, if you spew hate. I even had to go and delete a comment from a guy who was a supporter of mine. He got a little abusive, and I had no choice but to delete his comment, and then write in a comment explaining why I had to delete his comment. I didn't ban him because his comment was not worthy of being banned altogether from my channel, like others that I point out in this video that I'm uploading. The hate's got to stop, guys. We are in crisis mode here, as the cover photo or the cover videos for my website are. I've changed that one. It's not the brass plates anymore. It's now it's time to rise up and take back our nation. Remember the Book of Mormon? The warning? Don't get a king on the throne of the United States. Oops. Because you can't dethrone a wicked king, can you? See all the problems that we're having trying to get rid of Trump? He's filled the lower judges with his people. He's filled the Supreme Court with his people. He had Republicans dominate in Congress until the midterms. And he still has the Senate, which means even though the House will find out all the information they want, the Senate will still say, we're not going to indict. Because it's all tribalism, party tribalism. That's a violation of the Constitution. And that's why we're in this crisis, is because little by little, the Constitution was destroyed. A law here, a law there. Here a law, there a law, everywhere a law. And now we have a king on the throne. It's exactly how the Book of Mormon described the process with the Nephites. Not a coincidence. And the real answer is that the Book of Mormon is a fraud, but it was a warning message because Joseph Smith and family and company knew of the threat to this nation. They were trying to warn us using a religion as the cover, because if they were to just be an organization, they would have been destroyed. So, but religion would have protected them as it did until Joseph was murdered. All right, so we're down to 5 minutes. So let me get this going.